Good evening, everybody. This is Kiana. I hope you're having a good Friday. I know that I am. I had the opportunity today to just relax from uh, readings that were available to me in my LLM International Human Rights Master's Program, and just today relax. And that is sometimes what we need to do. Before I get into what we are going to be doing today, I want to first start off by saying that it would help this channel. It's a fairly new channel. If you subscribe to this channel, if you like the videos, if you share them, I think it's important, especially if you are a new user yourself. What we need to do is kind of support each other, get our videos active in the algorithms. Uh, Also, there is a disconcerting issue. I am currently dealing with anti Black cyber hackers that are using their capacities to submerge my message on the internet. And so, like, I am just kind of fighting peacefully to try and bring my content, you know, above the waves so that it can breathe. But of course, I am not a cyber hacker. I don't have the knowledge that cyber hackers have. And so, of course, this is a skill set that is very unfamiliar with me. And the only way that I really know how to solve this problem is by getting the law involved, or, of course, possibly bringing an action in court. And you may say, well, Kiana, well, why hasn't law enforcement done anything about this? And the short answer is that I believe that law enforcement is complicit. And so we're not going to get into that because this is going to be a very positive video. So again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And we're going to get into it. Okay. So I've been thinking, before we get into it, I've been thinking about maybe relaxing my hair because like lately I've been wearing it natural, and I'm not going to actually dye my hair. I know that I have grays there, but I actually don't mind having gray hair because I think that it shows like my age. And I think that it's important that we have those relics of age on our person. So I don't think I'd ever dye my hair, but I'm thinking about relaxing it just because it's been so difficult to really maintain when it's natural. For instance, so like I often wash my hair and sometimes I don't have time to really dry it. And I notice that like when I don't dry my hair, this is not a good smell, right? It doesn't smell good, because it smells like a mildew smell. So like I don't, I want to keep my hair moisturized, but I don't want it to be smelling. So like I really want to try to figure out a way to which I can actually handle my hair without it actually breaking off. So one thing I'm going to try and do is just like relax it and keep it oiled, and to see if that makes a difference, because like right now it doesn't look really nice. And so I'll see if like relaxing it is a better, because one thing I don't like to do is actually mess with my hair every single day. And that's what I'm doing, is I'm manipulating my hair every day, which is causing a lot of friction and breakage, and we know that we can't deal with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and relax it and see if that actually does anything different for my hair. Because I remember when I had a friend, her name was Christina, and she relaxed my hair for me, and or helped me. Well, she didn't do it for me, but she helped me relax my hair. And so my hair was like growing without actually breaking off. So I'm going to try that and see, like, if that works without actually having to flat iron my hair every day, which is something I really don't like to do. So let's get into it. So earlier this week, I was supposed to participate in a debate that was sponsored by Literific. which is a debating society here at Queen's University. But I didn't get the opportunity to debate in the motion that I wanted to debate and on the data that I wanted to debate on because, of course, the society seemed very freshman based. And it also seemed very cliquish, which of course I don't mind because I know that that is a component of a lot of societies across the world. You know, there is these societies and fraternities and sorority groups that does feel a bit cliquish, and I think that that is the nature of it. And so those are not problems for me. It's just that it's not something that I really want to be a part of at this age, you know. So again, it was a very freshman oriented society, and of course, you know, I am, you know, past my prime. I'm and of course I'm doing a master's, and so I kind of want to actually be around a lot of people who are actually we can talk maturely about mature topics, and there not be like people getting very emotional about it. And that's not to say that that happened in this society, but you just never know, right? So I want to read the debate that I prepared that I was going to do. And the proposition was, should we vote blue no matter who? And I stood in opposition of the motion, not because I am a Trump supporter. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not actually even conservative. Like all of my values and the principles and the things that I believe in are more liberal based, but the Democratic Party has a lot of growing up to do. And in my opinion, they need to pay more attention to their voter constituency, which I don't think that they've done a good job doing. So that is why I am actually standing in opposition of this motion that was debated on Thursday. Now, on Thursday, I think that the House in this society, they actually voted blue no matter who, which actually I don't, if we can be honest, can we be honest? Can we be honest? Judging from the energy of the society, I don't really believe that the majority would have voted blue no matter who in real life. That's just my opinion, but I think that they probably did that just to kind of save face, and which is okay. You know, it's life. So let's get into it. This was the debate that I was going to do, and but didn't get the opportunity to actually do because a lot of things come up, and plus, again, it just didn't feel right for me. So withdrew at one moment from that society. So here we go. Good evening, House and esteemed members. Tonight, I will offer three sound arguments on why voting blue, no matter who, is not about you. My first argument is that the proposition compels voters to maintain the status quo. Vote blue, no matter who, is taken as a reference point, which means any cogitation on any other party color is perceived as a loss. Now, I anticipate that our opponents will attempt to convince the House that voting another party color is a loss for the voter constituency, a monumental loss for democracy. However, I would argue this claim appeals to our fear. Indeed, the opposition understands that if we are encapsulated in fear, we lose sight of other alternatives because of that fear. Now, if we think deeply about the proposition, we come to understand that at its core, it weighs highly against democracy. For instance, the instruction vote blue no matter who restricts individual liberty and limits our options in the electoral marketplace. Consider the voting themes in the 2004 film Napoleon Dynamite, where Pedro Sanchez runs for class president. Sanchez's opponent, Summer Wheatley, promises the student body that there will be new soda pop machines in the cafeteria, glitter bomb bell dispensers in the girls' bathroom, and new cheerleading uniforms for her cheerleader friends. Whereas Sanchez promises that if you vote for me, all your wildest dreams will come true. Now, it is possible that the opposition may try and capitalize on this promise, proposing red ascending once more to the presidency is the wild dream that will come true. And my response is open competitions for power amongst a number of parties is the real color of democracy. Now, I want to reflect back on Pedro's promise. How was it different from Summers? Well, for starters, Pedro's promise captures the interest of the voters, whereas Summers' promise did not serve anyone but her friends. And anyone who likes soda pop. Now, I want you to think about soda pop as a policy position. Students may be tired of class presidents making promises, just as Americans are concerned about campaign promises that are devoted to making life easier for the middle class but remain unfulfilled. We know Blue is uncommitted to this promise because we haven't seen more Americans moving out of the middle class and into the six figure tax bracket, just as we haven't seen the houseless moving off the streets and into the middle class. Even if the proposition argues Blue inherited a bad economy from Red, which disparately impacts the middle class and the homeless, we cannot ignore the color holding the White House can remedy these social and economic issues now through its extra constitutional powers. Indeed, the doctrine of emergency powers assumes the president must go beyond the powers set by the Constitution to preserve the nation. So, why hasn't Blue made use of its extra constitutional and emergency powers? And why haven't they remedied these social and economic policy ills? Because voting blue is not about you. This brings me to my second argument. The proposition presupposes that there is only one good option when other options are available, and other good options as well. If voters mistakenly believe a course of action is impossible when in fact it is possible, then such alternatives will be excluded from the very beginning. Now, let's think back to Pedro's concise speech. Why was it effective? Because it focused on the needs of the entire constituency. This demonstrates that voters are able to choose the most rational and efficient means to achieve an end. Whatever choice is eventually made, a voter will be positioned to tell us why they made that choice. I think most of us would agree that isolating voters from other alternatives is at odds with liberal principles and antithetical to the foundations of democracy. Now to my third argument. The proposition interferes with the voter's freedom of choice. In the book, Free Choice, a self referential argument, Boyle, Grisez, and Tollefson intimates for humans to experience choice, we must be moved to consider alternatives. This is what the proposition prevents voters from doing experiencing choice. Further, the proposition compels that we be drawn by an unopposed motive to vote blue without deep reflection or deliberation. One should note here that our capacity to deliberate prepares a clear reason for acting in accord with each alternative that remains under consideration. In other words, when a voter arrives at the voting booth, they should be able to confidently say, the political color I chose on my ballot was my choice. Who I chose was up to me. It was my free choice. As can be seen, the freedom of alternatives must remain within the voter's power. Thus, I will end my speech not by demanding that you vote red or green, nor demanding that you vote blue, but by putting all colors on the table to give you the freedom to choose the political color that is right for you. Thank you. So that was going to be the speech that I had prepared. I had been working on that speech for like a month and just didn't get the opportunity to do it. And tell me what you think. And I mean, I thought that it was an okay speech. I'm pretty sure that there was some counter arguments that people could actually come up with to, maybe to ask me, because in this debate society, what happens is that you can raise your hand and say on that point, and then offer a counter argument. And of course, I can rebuttal that, respond to it, right? And so that was going to be the speech that I read and something that I had prepared. And I think it's important now that the election is as quickly approaching. I think it's important for us to really consider all of our alternatives, put them out on the table, and vote for the party that's right for us, not because someone is telling us to vote a party color because they want us to vote a party color. And of course, through this election season, I know that third party candidates have been intimidated online. I know that I have. I've been intimidated immensely. And so I think it's important for us to really understand like who is doing this. And I get the feeling that people are interfering in US elections. And I think that South Ireland is also interfering in US elections because they have something to gain. For example, they have something to gain for the Biden administration to remain in power. They have something to gain. So they are interfering and also engaging in a harassment campaign online. Now, that's not to say that other countries are not doing it. But again, when I reflect on it and I'm talking about my own experience, no other country has a reason to intimidate me. Like, I'm not at war with any other country. No, I'm not in battle with any other country. And I don't think that any other country would be at war and battle with me. And that it's irrational to think that out of the billions of people in this world, that a country would, a foreign country that is in opposition to the United States would zoom in on me and try to attack me and harass me. I just don't believe that that is what's happening. I believe that what's happening is that countries have a stake in this election, and those are countries that have something to gain. They have interest in these elections, and those interests are leading them to intimidate American citizens who are not getting on board with voting for the candidate that they want us to vote for. And so my heart and my politics remains close to Cornel West, because Cornel West, I believe, is, although not a viable candidate, he would be viable if sooner he would have created the party that he created now, and was on the ballot in majority of the states. But Cornel West, unfortunately, is not on the ballot, and that is just disappointing for me, because I know that Cornel West would make a really good president. He is somebody that really cares about the people. You can feel it in his heart. You can feel it in his speech. And Cornel West, he not only cares about his own people, but he cares about all people. And you can really tell deep down inside that this is a man who has devoted himself to service, and not only that, has devoted himself to the causes that he is advocating for and the policy positions that he is speaking about. Now, is he a politician? I won't say that Cornel West is a politician. Of course, he was an educator, a philosopher. And I think that that is why he's having a really difficult time in this election, is because he's not really political. Like when he speaks, he speaks from the heart. And sometimes to fresh ears and then or even mature ears, senior ears, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to really hear people speaking from the heart. They want to be lied to. They want to hear that political voice. That political voice is is more important than a voice from the heart. And I just think that's unfortunate in this election. But we'll see what's coming up. We know that this is going to be the election of all times, because this has been a very interesting election year and so much has happened. And I'm not going to reveal who I think will win, because I think it's dangerous to do so. But I will keep that. I will keep my opinions to myself, but I do have I have my opinions, and then I have my values, who I've aligned myself with. Now, again, I've aligned myself with Cornel West, Dr. Cornel West, as a viable president, although, of course, he's not on the ballot in a majority of the states, which makes him not a viable candidate. But the reason why, to further elaborate, the reason why I actually aligned myself with Cornel West is because I believe that he really cares about not only Black people, but people in general. And that I believe that Cornel West, if he were in office, that we wouldn't have the police brutality that we have in the United States. We wouldn't have the housing crisis with the homelessness that we have in the United States. And we wouldn't be involved in conflicts across the world. I think that a Cornel West presidency would really bring equity and equality to the United States. It will lift people out of poverty, in that it will actually eliminate, a Cornel West presidency would actually eliminate our participation as a nation in foreign conflicts. Now, my stance. I'm against war on all sides. So I'm not taking a position, because I think that war, no matter what country you are, is wrong. And people will say that war is, in their opinion, okay for this country or okay for that country. And I disagree. I think war is wrong. If you're going to be anti war, you're going to be anti war on both sides. And that's where I stand. So I'm glad that you listened. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel at Real Kiana Canada. You can follow me on Facebook. My Facebook account is linked to this channel. Also, what I did was I deleted my Twitter account, my Twitter X account. You know why? I deleted that account because there were anti-Black racism happening on that platform, and plus, I had misogynist men, just these misogynist people, sending me pornography every single day. So basically, all the followers that I would get on my account were women in scantily clad clothing. So bikini women, which I'm a human rights defender. The causes that I advocate for, all the people that I'm following, is like the United Nations, the special rapporteurs for human rights defenders, as the special rapporteur on freedom of speech and on privacy. I'm following international human rights organizations. And so I wasn't getting that followership in return, which I think is a concerted effort to push me off the platform, which is fine. But that's what eventually happened, is that what was happening is that all of the followers that I was getting was women who they were actually white women in bikinis. And this lets me know that this was men that was behind this, because no woman is going to send that to another woman, right? So this was men behind these fake accounts. And I believe they were anti-black men. So I believe that they were white nationalists that were actually behind these accounts and just inundating my account with like a lot of pornography, things that I didn't subscribe to, things that I didn't want to see. So I thought the best thing to do would be to remove myself off these platforms, because I, of course, as I mentioned, didn't want to see it, didn't want to be involved in it. And it was becoming too much. And I contacted the police service of Northern Ireland on multiple occasions complaining about this. And their response in the beginning was to remove myself from the platform, which I didn't think was a good idea. I'm thinking, okay, if somebody's sending me pornography and I'm not agreeing to it, then this is harassment. But of course, they didn't see it that way here in Northern Ireland. They think that that's permissible. So again, just so that I can actually be on platforms that are positive and not misogynistic and not dirty, what I did was actually remove myself from the Twitter X platform. Now, again, that doesn't mean that to each his own. Like in the past, I was an adult entertainer. I don't hide from that. But again, that was in the past. Now I am, more focused on a different area of my life and focused on really advocating for human rights. And I think that we have some really obsessive men who are behind these cameras. I think that they're like incel men who are actually sending me this suggestive material to try and intimidate me. And it's just not something that I'm going to have. I'm just going to continue with my message and continue to advocate for the things that I believe in. And I would suggest that you do the same. Now, if you're in a position like I'm in, where like you don't have the police helping you because you are against like police brutality and police corruption, then I think that the best thing that for you to do is to remove yourself, because oftentimes what will happen is that they could send you all of this dirty material and make it appear as if you are complicit, or that you are acquiescing to being sent this material. So one thing that I did was I went ahead and deleted the account, and I sent a message telling people not to actually follow the account anymore. So this video has gone on long enough. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.